It's time for the first 2022 edition of Rick's Picks, where ABC News Political Director Rick Klein tells us what we need to know about the midterms today. Rick, like the graphic, like the music, we're kicking it off. Good to see you, and quite a day to do this because it's the midterm elections, and we've got a shocking leak to talk about of this draft of the Supreme Court opinion about abortion. So how is it resonating with voters? It wasn't a major issue during the campaigns.
Yeah, Kira, it's interesting because in the primaries, there really isn't much of a distinction. In the races that both Devin and Rachel are covering today, all of the candidates agree. The Democrats want to protect abortion rights. The Republicans believe that Roe v. Wade should be overturned. But the question will be whether the politics is owned equally on both sides. Republicans today are much more keen on talking about the fact of the leak than they are about the substance of what appears to be a major victory that they've been fighting decades to get. Democrats see this, though, as a major energizing, organizing tool. I'm interested to see if anything changes in terms of the turnout in Ohio, in Indiana, particularly on the Democratic side, where, frankly, the Democrats have had less success recently. Are they able to get their voters a little more engaged in the closing hours?
All right, so Indiana, Ohio, both reddish states, but do progressive candidates in the primaries get a more energized base turning out because of this, or with early voting already over, will this have a minimal impact? What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for in this Supreme Court shocker here, Kira, is that progressives have in a couple of these races, in the Senate race in Ohio, in a special congressional race in the Cleveland area where Shontel Brown is running against Nina Turner in a rematch, they've tried to make a case that, look, we need a more aggressive stance here. It's not enough to be for Roe versus Wade or for abortion rights. You need to expand the number of Supreme Court justices. You need major reform. You need to blow up the system in a more fundamental way. Some of the calls we've heard from progressives, we saw Elizabeth Warren fire on the Supreme Court steps today. We saw Bernie Sanders come out and say, get rid of the filibuster in the Senate. Those are the kind of arguments that Joe Biden, frankly, has been resisting, and his wing of the party has been resisting for some time. So we'll see if progressives feel like they've got a little bit more of an argument to take a much more aggressive stance when it comes to taking on these issues, in light of the fact that we now know that the court is poised to take Roe v. Wade out and overturn it entirely.
All right, let's talk Trump. We have to, in the GOP Senate primary in Ohio, because he's got a strong holding there, as you know. Does his endorsement of J.D. Vance put Vance at the top at the end of the day? And what does it also tell us about the GOP and just the influence of Trump still, Rick?
Yeah, a lot of people want to minimize the Trump influence. Do not do so. You do so underestimating him at his own peril. This stance that he took, in that deciding to go and endorse J.D. Vance, yeah, he messed up his name over the weekend, seemed to confuse him with another candidate. But if J.D. Vance is able to prevail in this very crowded primary in Ohio, it's going to be because of one reason, and it's Donald Trump and his endorsement. Now, look, the other major candidates all happen to be very Trumpy. They're trying to suggest that Trump made a mistake in endorsing Vance over them. Most of them, all save one, also endorsed the lies about the last election. So it's not as if there's a big kind of anti-Trump or never-Trump contingent in the Republican Party that's likely to nose forward. But make no mistake, if Vance wins, he'll have one man to thank for it, and I can guarantee you that that man is going to say a lot about what he did and why he did it if he is successful.
All right, so what are you watching for in the governor's GOP primary? Governor DeWine facing criticism for how he handled strict lockdown measures. Is that enough to unseat him?
This will be fascinating because I think we'll get a real sense of what the COVID backlash looks like inside the Republican Party. Again, the very Trumpy Republican Party in Ohio. Governor DeWine, as our viewers will recall, was one of the most prominent governors early in the pandemic, had some of the strictest initial lockdowns and restrictions in place, and he got a lot of blowback from that from people in the Trump wing of the Republican Party, including former Congressman Jim Renacci. He has suggested that Trump is supporting his campaign, although there was no endorsement issued. It does look like Governor DeWine is going to be able to sail through, and that might be an emerging trend, that to the extent that that Republicans are able to withstand some of the Trump-inspired forces, it's if they are more established already. They already hold an office like the governor's office, and it won't be nothing if you see Governor DeWine able to withstand a challenge, maybe top 50% plus. That will be seen as a statement by some of the Republicans in the party that think that Trump might not be their future.
All right, and finally, what are you watching for on the Democratic front?
Yeah, look, I think that on the Democratic side, we've got two states that are pretty red, Ohio and Indiana. Realistically speaking, they're going to stay red. But particularly in that race that Devin is covering. The idea that Tim Ryan, if he is the nominee and he's expected to prevail today, could he put together a kind of coalition that Sherrod Brown has done, a white working class coalition in Ohio? Maybe it's possible, particularly if you've got a more extremist on the other side. And look, Democrats want to hold their own. And in some of the more bruising primaries that they're engaging in right now, how do they come out in that one in the Cleveland area that I mentioned? Joe Biden decided to use only his second endorsement of the whole election cycle to back Chantel Brown against a nationally known progressive in Nina Turner. If Chantel Brown is able to win that and for the second time in 2 years in that rematch, that would send a powerful statement about the appeal of Bidenism as well.
All right, Rick Klein, as always, thank you so much, and we look forward to picking your brain with your picks throughout the campaign season.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.